in a world where oppression is only fueled by ignorance. So, I mean, what are you going to do when it comes to ignorance? Are you going to fight it with swords and guns and knives? No. And I dedicate my character actually to Naomi Hersi. She was a black trans woman who was murdered in a London hotel room. I think like a month ago, very, very recently. And the reason why I dedicate my character to Naomi Hersi is because Naomi Hersi had a very unique love for television. And I am so heartbroken that she's not here to be able to see Pose. It disturbs me. It's very disturbing.
It was in March that we lost our sister, Naomi Hersi. And it just really struck me, like, because of the savage way she was killed, and we're not used to that story within British media. You know, that's not to say that there haven't been trans women who've been murdered by their partners who knew all the tea and just killed them. You know, and who were basically victims of domestic violence. And I am really upset that the only group that I feel has really been trans inclusive that I've worked with has been Sisters Uncut, which is an activist group of feminists who they fight against the cuts to domestic services from the conservative government have been instituting for a number of years. And yeah, that's the only like feminist group who've reached out to me to say, you know, that we stand with you and that have been in solidarity with me, really. But when it comes to like issues around homelessness and domestic violence and whatever, I feel like they always speak about how inappropriate it would be to include trans people in organisations or services. And so we are literally left on the side of the road, thrown under the bus, left to be the victims of everything. Yeah. Like, and we just don't get anywhere near the level of care and consideration that cisgender people get cisgender women get when it comes to domestic violence services. Like even the thought of, you know, say trans women being turned away from hostels and homeless shelters and stuff, it's just really savage.
And having to interact with the police.
Mm-hmm. So, like, we had our memorial for Naomi Hersi. Was that in April? That was Earth Day, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh. That was really moving. I wasn't able to make it, even though I was involved with the organisation.
Can you tell me a bit about it? I wasn't involved in that.
Oh, sure. No, of course. So, basically, Naomi was like, it wasn't far from here. I feel like it was close to Heathrow. Yeah. Yeah, so we're Heathrow right now. Yeah. Oh my god, so we're in the borough. This is her borough. Yeah, oh god. That is so touching. Sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, okay, so she is with us. And basically, yeah, she was killed by a man that knew her, as a lot of trans women are. And it was just dust in media, do you know what I mean? It was literally, I couldn't believe like that it was 2018 and it's like, okay, so they're still going to do it, they're still going to misgender you, boo. Do you know what I mean? Like, who is using that name? And not being funny, like, my girl was a good time girl. Do you know how many men that I have talked to who are like, yeah, I knew her. Like,
my dad knew her.
Okay.
It's actually quite sad. So she lived like 15 minutes from where I live now, and my dad is like a handyman. So that puts me even further. Not that kind of handyman, but my dad knew her. My dad like texted me straight. I was like, oh my god, like, do you know? No, and I didn't know her, but he told me, and he was so upset. Like, so he was like, she was such a nice girl.
Yeah, standard. And like, I feel like that's what's missed a lot of time because none of the men who I know, none of the men that knew her sexually and socially have been able to grieve for her in public. You know what I mean? Like, we put the memorial together, we were able to come together, and it just made me aware, like, like the men that are attracted to us are just so isolated, so alone. Can you imagine, like, do you know what I mean? You're like linking a girl, you know her down, do you know what I mean? Like, she was known. And then, like, she passes away and you ain't got no one to call. You can't tell your friends, you can't do nothing, do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's how bad it is that even in our death, like, the people that knew us, that loved us, aren't able to grieve for us.
That's erased even faster.
Yeah, Santed. Yeah, because those little tidbits that we found out about her, that she was into tennis and, you know, she loved lively music and stuff, like, I was like, yeah, exactly. That makes so much sense. Aww. Yeah, Santed.
So with the Naomi Hersi situation, I remember when it happened, so like there was some media, like small bit. So I went to go repost it on my Facebook, and at the time I was we're talking to a guy who, it was a really back and forth guy. And I remember I posted on Facebook being like, this has happened in the UK, I never thought something like this would happen here. And like, I knew of other things that happened, but I've never heard of a UK citizen trans woman and black trans woman being murdered. And yeah, so the guy I was seeing then messaged me on WhatsApp being like, oh, did you know Naomi? So clearly he knew her. So like what you're talking about with some of the guys you knew, but then he went to go and say, oh, it's really bad what happened, but no one's a saint. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah, what the fuck?
And then like, I was like, yeah, we just started arguing, and then he tried to like say how like, oh, she did drugs. And I was like, how long ago did you know? Because for example, I knew that the girl at the time before me, he was seeing, was like some cis black girl, and he has this obsession with black women's bodies,
but not black lives anyway.
So in that moment, I fully knew that like, when he called me perfection, when he said I could be perfect, it really just meant that he only saw black women bodies as like these objects that he could make into perfection, be it cis or trans, and someone like Naomi being in and out of his life was just another object, and so I was just another object that was the perfection of the now. So yeah, having her story come up made me really realise like how horrible and empty and vapid these men are.
The absolute lack of empathy. It's a really racialized experience, because I remember anytime I hear that, you know, oh, well, they weren't a saint, you know, I just feel like that's such a racialized experience, because I remember someone saying that about is it Mark Duggan, the man that got killed in Tottenham and stuff, and like, you know, that the tendency in media to use the pictures of black people that, you know, make us look more criminal, you know, pictures of Trayvon in his hoodie and, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's just it's really intersectional when you're looking at the way that black trans women are treated, because we get all of that, you know, like, I think I haven't started using it, but I could like start using the term like trans misogynoir for like what we go through. It's like, okay, so we're gonna get it on all fronts, do you know what I mean? And like, I just don't feel like there is that level of empathy for Naomi, because yeah, my girl liked to have a bit of fun, do you know what I mean? Let the boys know that and stuff. Whereas I feel like if she was white, I don't think he'd be saying that. I don't think he'd be saying, oh yeah, you know, like, you know, 3 days before she died, do you know what I mean? She had a drink and a night, like, no one cared, my girl's dead, like, why are
I think
you...
I should have 3 hours before.
Do you know what I mean?
No one's been murdered.
There we go,
yeah.
But we get that as well. And because I've been sober for 2.5 years now, and I was really aware towards the end of certain experience that I had, where I was like, I could just see what my story was going to be. I could see that they were going to savage me. And even now, like, I'm so grateful for the example of Bell Hooks putting together like the Bell Hooks Foundation to protect her legacy. And I just, you know, even I found out, I found out that Alice Walker is the reason why we have Zora Neale Hurston's works, and that even when it comes to Zora Neale Hurston, the writer from Florida, you know, part of the Harlem Renaissance and stuff, that there was a chance of all of that work being thrown away and stuff. And like, it's just, it's so important that we have people like Raquel Willis, is it?
Oh,
is it Willis? Yeah, she's so cool. But oh my god, during is it LGBT History Month, that she had this thread like of is it Laura Hicks Anderson and this black sex worker from the Victorian age and someone who's part of the Memphis riots and stuff. Mary Jones, that's it. Yeah, like, you know, she would like, you know, steal the trade's money and stuff. And like, yeah, it was just jokes. But I just feel like we need that so desperately, and we've got used to going back into history and queering it through like is it Sarah? I forgot the name of the author. I haven't read any of the books, that's why. But Fingersmith or something, and where you go back to historical times and you write our story into it, like you do what you can, like, and yeah, as a writer, that's something that is available to me, I think. So yeah, as part of my mission is to insert our lives back into where we've been erased, basically.